What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark, MyMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm going to be talking about Seeking Mavis Beacon. This is a 2024 documentary that is being released by Neon. It was submitted for my consideration, but it's also currently available on Hulu, so you can see it yourself. It's not a secret. It's been found. We found Seeking Mavis Beacon. Unfortunately, do they find Mavis Beacon in Seeking Mavis Beacon? What is Mavis Beacon? I think that was the greater question for me, and I think um, I I had such a weird experience with this movie because they were talking about like the Mandela effect, Mandela effect. In this, I pronounced his name wrong. I'm sorry. I know Mandela effect, and how people collectively remember something that never happened, which was born out of everybody remembering how Nelson Mandela was killed in prison. Like a bunch of people remembered that, even though there was no truth to it. Um, I mean, some of these things you could pass along as just being like, folklore. Like somebody heard it, and then another person hears it, and then that person tells five people, and then it just grows. So, but like a lot of things that have been debunked over the years that we thought were true, um, and turn out not to be. For example, the it is not milk in Singing with the Rain. I don't know if you know that, but it's not. So it was water. The story is much more horrifying and different when you actually know how they shot that scene. They did not just use milk. Also beautiful though at the same time. Huge technical achievement for film, but just a lot of work went into that. A wonderful Singing in the Rain moment. Um, but for me, I was like, I don't know what Mavis Beacon is. And then as they started describing it, it's sort of like the original AI. It was this program that helped kids learn how to type. So a whole bunch of kids grew up with Mavis Beacon. I did not. So I think this is like I think for some people, this is like their documentary. I think this is the shit, I mean, like, it's sort of like watching a documentary about your favorite band and being like, oh my God, I'm so excited to learn about blank. And I think people are really going to be excited about finding Mavis Beacon. I think there are people out there that this documentary is going to be like, what? I remember Mavis Beacon. Sort of like if it's not the same thing because she wasn't like an AI program, but I did grow up with Carmen Sandiego. So I mean, if there was a documentary about where in the world is actually Carmen Sandiego, like where did they get the inspiration from it? If there turned out to be some like true life story behind the real Carmen Sandiego, that would be really interesting to me. Um, but no, I didn't have Mavis Beacon, and I think it annoyed the shit out of my teachers. I started off with a typewriter. I had a typewriter. My parents had a typewriter, and I would type things. And that was how I started typing as a kid, long before I ever had a keyboard of any kind. And then I had this weird learning thing that plugged into a TV. It was called Socrates, and it had a little. It had a keyboard that came along with it, and it was a whole bunch of like learning games, sort of like Leapfrog is for kids nowadays a little bit. It's like that, and I had that, and then um, when I started playing around with computers, there wasn't a nobody was worried about teaching me how to type. They were all like other learning programs and stuff like that. I played like Oregon Trail, like the OG Oregon Trail, way back. But no, they just had a different use. By the time I ever got to any sort of a computer typing class, I was already far more proficient than anyone else in the room, and it pissed my teacher off. And I could type faster, but not my hands were never in position. And I refused. I refused to. I was like, "You can type blank words per minute. I can type blank words per minute. Who wins?" You know. I'd actually learned how to type um, perfectly without my hands, just because I was so familiar with where the keyboards were, with where the keys were on the keyboard. So I never had a typing teach thing. I I also was the fastest typer in my class. So I broke the rules, man. This so learning about Mavis Beacon, I was like, I don't like, conceptually, I feel like everybody else had a different experience than me. But I'm trying to like pick up on this documentary, which doesn't have audio description, and follow it. And I was thinking about how, if this documentary was about something that I knew slash cared about, um, then would it be like this amazing experience for me? And I think yes. Like, I think it's a well structured documentary in that they go into all of sort of like the lore behind Mavis Beacon and what what is true, what's factual. Is it possible to find her? Did she ever exist? Well, there's an image. Did somebody, who was in this image? So like trying to find Aunt Jemima, like somebody was Aunt Jemima, I mean, like, and then when you do actually, like, there is an actual story of how that came to be. So they're just trying to find the original Mavis Beacon. And did she have anything to do with typing? Like, what did she know any of this? Did she ever benefit from it? All that kind of stuff. And I thought that was sort of like a fascinating journey. Um, felt like felt like the kind of thing that the guys who make Catfish would do if they wanted to do something that wasn't Catfish. That's what it felt like. If they were trying to like break from the mold, but sort of but like use their specific set of expertise. Instead, these are just sort of like younger, I don't know what generation they're from. They didn't go, hi, I'm blank, years old. I don't know what generation, but they definitely feel younger than me. And I think that's part of the thing is, when was Mavis Beacon? um, yeah, I enjoyed the documentary, but as far as like throwing accolades at it, I don't need this to be for the same reason, like the year that Catfish came out, I didn't need that to be like in the awards conversation. Um, but I thought it was fun. It was a fun little documentary, a little trip down someone's memory lane, just not mine. And it's not lost on me too that because I guess Mavis Beacon, that the image they used was black, like it was a black lady that was teaching them, that this means a whole lot to a community different than me. But at the same time, I don't think they gave Mavis Beacon just to like black kids to learn how to type. I think everybody would have, if you had Mavis Beacon, Mavis Beacon. You know what I'm saying? Like, you either grew up with it or you didn't. I don't think it mattered necessarily. I think there are a whole bunch of people who aren't black who are like really interested in finding Mavis Beacon. So I don't think it's that. I just think you have to know and be really interested, because I felt like I was learning what Mavis Beacon was while also learning why we needed to find her. Because I literally went into this. I was like, seeking Mavis Beacon. Name does not ring a bell. I don't know why we're looking for her. I don't know what she did, but must have been bad because we have to find her. Oh, she might be AI? And we're going to talk a little bit about how the current state of AI and try to tie that in today. And oh man, this is okay. So, yeah, it's out there. It's on Hulu if you want to watch. It just doesn't have audio description. I mean, it definitely should have audio description. It's not, documentaries have a tendency to talk, but this one is not necessarily a talking head documentary. It's more of a investigative documentary where they're trying to chase things down. So there are a lot of things where they go places and they see things, and show things, and a lot of referential imagery that would have been nice to have with audio description. So I'm going to stick with my unwatchable due to lack of audio description. As far as a grade, I would give it maybe a floating grade of a B plus, could go up to an A minus, down to a B, something like that. I thought it was fine. So if you find Mavis Beacon on Hulu and you want to watch it, then watch it. Anyway, Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.